Hi friends, welcome to the Altenew Rustic Charm video hub. Today I'm creating 4 cards using the True Friends stamp set from this release and also showing you how I used the DIY brush marker that was also part of this new release. To start with, I kind of looked at some of the orange colors I had that I was planning to use for my fall card. Um, the colors I had are Autumn Blaze, Creamsicle, and Mango Smoothie. So these are the pretty orange colors that I have in my watercolor collection from the Altenew markers. However, I also have a Distress re-inker. This is Crackling Campfire, and I know that it's a lot more vivid and brighter and the kind of orange that I wanted to use for my card. Now, I don't have a watercolor marker of that color, and that's where the DIY marker comes in really handy. So typically, I would drop some of that ink on my mat and use that to color, and a lot of times I waste some of that leftover ink. I know I could smoosh it and all that, but you get what I'm saying. So here I'm trying to explore how to get this water marker set up. So there is this little cartridge inside and that green ring that you can discard. First, what I didn't know that this cartridge also has a plastic backing that needs to be removed. So I go ahead and fill my barrel or the barrel of the marker with Crackling Campfire ink. And then I go ahead and add some water to dilute it because the re-inkers are pretty much really concentrated. And just know that you could use any water-based re-inkers for this, Altenew ones or any other ones that you have. Like as long as you don't have a marker and you wanted to use it in the form of a marker, the convenience, believe me, is amazing. So then after adding water, I go ahead and put that cartridge inside. Now, you're actually supposed to remove that plastic backing. I didn't know back then, and I wondered why ink wouldn't flow. And then I opened it up again, and then I just took out that plastic backing so the ink would actually flow through that little tube mechanism in a controlled manner to the brush. So then now that I'm all set up, I just press the barrel a couple times to get the ink flowing, and then I test it out, and voila, I'm so excited. It looks amazing. It's this bright, vibrant color that I want, and it's super convenient to use. So I move on to stamping out the leaves on a piece of watercolor cardstock using VersaFine Clear Nocturne, which is my favorite black ink. I also have some Hero Arts clear embossing powder to emboss over it. This helps me create wells and makes it super easy and quick to color these using the wet on wet technique. So now I'm going to turn on some music while I stamp, emboss, and get to the point where I'm ready to move on to the second panel that I'll be creating. See you soon. At this point, I start my second technique for the second 2 cards. So I grab a piece of watercolor paper that's bigger than a standard A2 panel so I can trim it down later. I treat it with my anti-static powder, and then I go ahead and stamp one of my leaves right in the center using Simon Says Stamp clear embossing ink. And then I use Brutus Monroe Alabaster, which is my favorite white embossing powder, to emboss that leaf. So this is going to be more like a watercolor resist technique. So I just emboss my leaf right in the center of my panel. And then I use, again, a wet on wet technique to kind of add water over it and then some color to form that beautiful orange halo around it. Once again, I'll let the music flow and then we can meet right after. Alrighty, so now I have my tiny leaves colored and ready for some die cutting. And I'm adding color to the other panel, which is the emboss resist technique. I use a lot of water, like literally water that's able to flow on my paper, and then I keep dropping in color using my markers. And then I kind of use my hands or fingers to turn the paper, twist it around, and let the water do all the moving. So I keep dropping in more color and then keep moving things around. And you can see how gorgeous the colors just flow and makes and how amazing it looks. So I do that to complete this panel until I'm happy with it. And then I repeat the same thing for the second set of emboss resist panel that I have waiting for me. And yeah, once I'm done with that, I bring in the dies and started die cutting my tiny little leaves out. So moving on to the next step, I have panels of watercolor cardstock that I have already trimmed and kept ready. I used my MISTI to, kind of position my sentiment from this set, and then use my anti-static tool before I heat emboss my sentiment using the same black VersaFine ink and clear embossing powder from Hero. So I can just position the leaves the way I want it. I decide where the sentiment should go, and then just the same old process of stamping and then embossing. I'm going to turn on some music now so you can just watch in peace as I continue to emboss a sentiment on two panels and move on to the next step. For the embossed resist panels, I decided to do the sentiments with black cardstock, and I embossed them using white embossing powder. Again, the alabaster white from Frutas Munro is my favorite. It's a really crisp white and gives me the best results when it comes to tiny sentiments like these. So I go ahead and stamp out 3 of the sentiments. I know I need only 2, but an extra one is always helpful. So yeah, I go ahead and do that. Okay, after melting all that embossing powder and I'm ready to assemble my panels now, and I wanted to give a little bit more of a rustic or grunge look to my panel. They look really smooth cut, if that's the, I don't know if that's the right word, but anyway, I just grab my scissors and kind of go ahead and distress the panel all around. You could use a distress tool for this. I don't have one, so I think my scissors work perfectly fine for that. So yeah, just go ahead and keep rubbing and scrubbing until you get that really deckled distress edges for both my panels. I also do it for one of those embossed resist panels, but then for the other one, I decided to use a die from Altenew. I just realized that I have the deckled edge die, which is part of the I forget the name, but I'll link it in the supplies below. I think it's the Frames die set, So yeah, I use that for one of those panels, and then I just go ahead, arrange everything, edit it down, and put it all together. Yeah, so just again, time for some music, and you can keep watching as I work through this. As I was arranging the card, I got another idea. I decided that I wanted to add some gold splatters. Now, see, these are just ideas that come along the way and were not part of my original plan. But still, I haven't adhered it down. I haven't stuck it to my base, so I think I still have time to add some splatters. So yeah, I just go ahead and mask out the sentiments because I don't want them to get mucky or disturbed. I just mask out those sentiments and put it into a splat box, and then go ahead and use some gold watercolor to add plenty of splatters. Alrighty, so I'm done and I have 4 cards ready for my set and also some extras for a quick extra card if I want to. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you liked my video. If you did, do hit that like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I also have a list of supplies that you could go to if you decide to shop. They have affiliate links and do help me if you decide to use them. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day.